It's been a while since we've gotten an early look at an upcoming Masters of the Universe figure. Let's check out Modulok! Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today we're going to be reviewing the brand new Masters of the Universe Origins Modulok action figure, the beast of 1,000 bodies. But before we get into all of that, if you guys are new here, if you enjoy what you see today, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really does help the channel out. And of course, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. That's right. So, Modulok, finally here. Now, honestly, this is a figure that I'm kind of surprised took so long to happen, considering the Masters of the Universe Origins toy line has kind of been built on a pop and play, mix and match play feature since the very beginning. And Modulok was like the figure for that in the original Masters of the Universe toy line. But he's here, he's coming out now, and he's an Amazon exclusive. But I think he's also going to be available at some of the other online retailers, which is really, really good. So without further ado, why don't we dive right in and check out the MOTU Origins Modulok. Modulok, evil beast of 1,000 bodies. Let's start off with the packaging here, which does a really good job of mimicking the box that the vintage Modulok came inside of, but with the biggest difference being we now have a window on the front that shows the action figure on the inside. The vintage one was just a fully enclosed box that just had the box art on it, but very similar artwork to this, showing all the crazy combinations you can do with Modulok. 34 body parts create 1,000 plus monsters, meaning you can just mix and match these parts to your heart's desire. We've got the Evil Horde logo sticker on the front. We've got this blurb up at the top, the ultimate transforming creature. I like that. You'll also notice the She-Ra 40th anniversary logo is in the corner of the packaging. This is pretty cool. I assume this means that'll be appearing across the board in 2025, just like how the MOTU 40th anniversary was across the board just a year or two ago. So pretty cool stuff there. I like that quite a bit. You can see that artwork continues around on the sides, and then the back presents us with some gorgeous new artwork of the Evil Horde going into battle here against the Rebellion. Adora is Force Captain Adora, it looks like, though notice they're kind of using the toy version of She-Ra here, not the red outfit from Filmation. Definitely makes me think there's still a little bit going on with some of the Filmation She-Ra stuff, maybe. Because the other thing I was curious about, we've got some new characters on here in this artwork. And don't get me wrong, they're pretty cool looking characters, like this scorpion looking guy here. But when I see a scorpion looking guy with the Horde, it makes me go, why wouldn't we just use Scorpia? Like, she's already a Scorpion Horde member. Again, unless there's something funky going on with the She-Ra Filmation right still. I think that is very possible. Over here in the corner, you can see another new character who looks like he's utilizing some of those same Modulok-esque parts. We're already setting ourselves up for possible variants, I think, or reuse of parts. I do also love how we've got the Comet Warriors here flying into battle. You can see Bo. I found Liu Qi. You've got Huntara. Really fun stuff going on in the background. Plus, you can see Whispering Woods. I do believe that this right here is a nod to an unreleased playset, if I'm right. Maybe? I don't know, but I definitely feel like I've seen that before. And then down here, you can see, of course, showing you how to mix and match the parts. There's a tool included for removing the parts from the ball joints, which is very, very interesting. So what I want to do is I actually want to open this up on camera because I'm curious to see how the parts are inside of this box here. I'll try to do this without ripping, but I've already ripped this tab just a little bit. Oh, this is kind of cool. Look at that. It includes 34 body parts, and it shows you exactly what parts are on the inside. I like that quite a bit. Yeah, so this is what I was curious about, is how they packed them out in here. Are they in like a blister on the inside, or are they baggied? Oh boy, this is in there tight. There we go. Oh, there we go, yeah. It's just all in a blister there. All the parts housed in a blister, which is very cool. A tray. And then we've got our little instruction pamphlet here. There we go. Again, this little pamphlet, kind of like the box, shows you all the different parts that are included. This is really interesting because we've got all these connector pieces, which is very different from the vintage figure. So he looks a little more complicated than what we've had before. So let's go ahead and get him pulled out of this tray and we'll start playing around with him.
How can you alone defeat He-Man? Because, Hordak, I am
Modulok.
an evil horde all by myself with 1,000 battling bodies.
All right, we got Modulok outside of the packaging and all of Modulok's parts. Look at all that stuff that he comes with there. So lots of mixing and matching potential. Just with the standard figure, of course, he's got that elongated neck with the two heads. But you can see with that on there, he reaches up to almost 7 inches tall. The regular body, if the regular head were there, you could see would probably be just a tad over 5.5 inches, around the 6-inch mark. So should be about the standard size of your MOTU Origins figures, but with all of this extra stuff, he is going to stand a little bit taller, making him quite the monster of a figure. Now, one important thing I do want to show you on the instructions here, I think it's worth noting. These circled areas right here, the grayed out areas, it lets you know that these joints are non-detachable, so don't try to pry those joints off because they're non-removable. So this is going to be all of the joints on the neck pegs and the joints that the legs plug onto, non-removable pieces. So are not meant to come off of the figure. These are locked in place, and that's for like durability with popping off those particular limbs right there. So that is something worth noting. Otherwise, as you can see, this comes with a lot of stuff that's a little bit different from our vintage Modulok figure, because the way vintage Modulok worked is he just had those little joints, those like pegs basically, where all of the joints could just pop right onto those pegs. They were like all the same size. This time around, in order to maintain kind of the modern articulation, the way that this is actually working, as you can see, we've got these ball joints here that the legs will all clip onto. Now, it's worth noting that a lot of these joints are still the same as what you've got on the rest of the MOTU Origins toy line, since this line is already kind of a pop and play, mix and match parts toy line. You can see that the same style joint for the waist right there, for the arms right here, these are the same style joints that we've already got on all of the other figures. So this mixing and matching will work between other figures in the line. But to kind of expand this out, they've added these extra little peg pieces right here so that you can do all of the part swapping. And as you'll see, we've got some different types here. First of all, we got like these barbell pegs. And they do come in a few different sizes. You can see there's shorter ones and longer ones. But these are just standard barbell joints here. It's a little shorter on one side, longer on the other on this particular one here. But these are more meant for what we've got going on here with the legs. So you can see that's just like the standard kind of ball socket in the legs. So that'll pop onto those there. Now we also have these style of pegs here where it's the ball joint on one end, but then that joint that is made for like the arm socket holes or even the waist sockets there. So it's styled like that standard MOTU Origins little peg. So that's going to be good for mixing and matching for the different arm joints. So I'll show you exactly how all of that works as we're having some fun here building this guy out. Now, first of all, let's talk about the figure itself. I want to kind of scoot all of this stuff out of the way. We'll leave Modulok how he came out of the box here, just to kind of talk about him. I do want to say he does feel like a standard MOTU Origins figure, though he feels a little lightweight. I don't know if he's a little more hollow, just to kind of make it so the mixing and matching on this figure is a bit more functional. I don't know if that even makes sense. I just noticed that he felt kind of lightweight. This torso, we've already seen in this line, as it was used with Frog Mongor. But if you remember, when I reviewed that figure, I mentioned that that looked like Modulok's torso. This is definitely designed like the vintage Modulok figure, so they designed that one early. But we do have some new parts here, but some of the things I've noticed have been recycled. I want to talk about the feet specifically when we get this guy a little bit more built out. But all of the articulation is going to function exactly as you would expect from a MOTU Origins figure. So that is something really cool because they kept all of the articulation in place on this guy. They just added the ability to add more parts on for that mixing and matching feel of the vintage action figure. So I think that is pretty cool. Now, one of the new additions with this figure is this right here, which is a tool to help you pull apart these little pegs when you plug them into things. Basically, how that would work, for a quick example here, if I had plugged this little ball joint into this tail here, you can see it locks in there pretty solid. It's a little hard to remove. So you can bring this little tool over here, you can hook it under, and that will help you pry those little barbells out of there. You're definitely going to get like the fingers, like your fingertips are going to get all calloused messing with this. It definitely hurts a little bit doing some mixing and matching, but this tool certainly helps with it. But I also think it's really fun the way they designed this tool, because you see there's a handle on the other side, so they designed it to also double as a shield for Modulok, which I think is really fun. Look at that. So he's got a brand new shield that also works as a tool to help take this guy apart. Really fun stuff. All right, let's do some building here. Let's do like a very, very basic build with this guy so I can show you guys how this works. I want to start because, first of all, let me take him apart here at the top. So you can see he does just have the standard ball joint on the head. So really you could take either of these heads and you can pop it on the torso like a standard figure, as you would expect. But you know, this joint right here basically is like a double neck, which just has two of those ball pegs on there. So you can plug that over the neck, and that way we can have a two-headed figure. Let's say we want to do the same thing for the arms. So in order to do that, we've got these little Y joints right here. Now, in order to make this so that we can plug in the arms and everything to it, there's a little bit of work that we want to do, because first of all, we need to be able to plug this into this socket right here. And this is where those little pegs I showed you that have the little ball on one end and the Origins peg on the other end are going to come in handy. So you can take this and we can plug it in to that Y joint right there, and then we can plug this into the torso like so. So that way we have now created this Y split so we can get two arms plugged in. And then of course we've got two different types of arms, where we've got these more clawed monster arms, the Modulok arms, and we've got more basic standard red arms there. And those will just plug straight into that Y joint there. It is already ready for those standard Origin arms. So boom, now we've got double arms on this side. So we can do the same thing over on the other end here. Take another Y joint, we're going to plug in another one of those little pegs there that's got the ball on one end and the Origins peg on the other end. And now we've got a two-headed, four-armed monstrosity. But we want to get even crazier with this guy, because let's build him out with as much of this as we can. We want to do 6 legs here. That's the way I want to do this. So you can see right now the pelvis joint that is on here, the pelvis part, just has this little extra peg off the back. This is one of those non-removable pegs right here. So there's a couple different options you've got for this. Obviously, you've just got like the standard little tail piece here that you can plug on there, and then that just adds a little tail to the back. Or we've got a couple other options, because you can see we do have some more pieces here so we can expand him out even further. Look at that. So now that is ready so that we can pop on extra legs. Now, the way the legs work on this figure, you can see these are kind of new. We've not had removable legs like this in Origins before. So they just kind of have like a standard ball socket in there, but they've also got this kind of extra space carved out, which is just going to allow for the articulation to function good on these. And so these pegs right here, these are some of those non-removable pegs on these pieces over here. They are strictly meant to plug the legs onto, and you can press the legs onto those ball joints there, those ball pegs. Now, this is one part part that I really kind of want to talk about, because these are a bit flexible, as you can see. They're a bit bendy there, and there probably should be some give on that. We don't want it to be too rigid because we don't want it to snap off. But I will say I'm still a little worried about those joints breaking, especially over time. They just feel a little too wiggly for my liking when I'm plugging these legs on there. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but I'm worried that with like extensive popping of these particular leg joints, that might be something that happens down the road. I hope that I'm completely wrong about that, but it is something that I want you to kind of watch out for when you're building this guy out for yourself. But there we go, look at that. Now we've got this monstrosity with 2 heads, 4 arms, and 6 legs, exactly the way I have always preferred to display my vintage Modulok. And I really feel like I'm not popping these legs onto, there we go. Now that really felt like it clicked. So yeah, these legs just kind of take a little bit of work to get onto those ball joints, which kind of adds to my fear of breaking those pegs. So it's something that I would say be wary of while you're building this guy out. But he does look great when you get him all set up just like this. Now, of course, he's also got that standard accessory that the vintage figure had, which is this blaster that could be plugged together to make 1 blaster or pulled apart to make 2. You can even hook them together this way, which is really fun. So there's a couple different options there for his blaster. And of course, his red basic arms have the normal gripping hands. So those are the ones that are going to hold on to it best. So you can see the way I've got him right now. This is pretty much as built out as you're going to get them, where you're using all the legs, all the arms, both heads. But look at this. You still have like these extra pieces here. There's an extra tail. There's a couple of extra connector pieces. You got these extra necks here with the little ball joints on them. And then you've got these extra pegs here as well. So there is still some fun that you can have with this guy. There's lots of ways, of course, you can mix and match this. The whole idea with Modulok in the original toy was that you were supposed to be able to create all kinds of weird creations. And you can even find a way to have like 2 monsters standing next to each other with this. So I think people that really like the mixing and matching play, maybe some of those Golios fans out there that are really good at it, I think this is going to be one of those figures you guys have a lot of fun with. Me, I'm probably going to display them this one way that I prefer to display my Modulok. All right, guys, it's comparison time. This is the vintage Modulok action figure. And honestly, I was kind of surprised at just how big the MOTU Origins version is in comparison with that vintage action figure. He really just towers over him. I mean, overall, just quite a bit bigger. So he is massive when compared to the original one. You kind of forget how small the little one is because they really scaled him down. He had a much skinnier torso, skinnier arms and everything, where the new one is using like the full-on same style arms, legs, torso, same scale as the rest of the Origins figures. So just like I wanted to show you real quick, the way that the vintage one worked, they all had these kind of pegs on all of the limbs. So everything just kind of popped together like that. And I want to show you too, one of the big changes that I noticed was with the feet specifically. I've got this guy built out the same way with the legs in the same spots. So you can see the purple leg on Origins now has the white clawed toes where the vintage one did not. The white clawed toes were actually on the straight red legs, which you can see on the new Origins release is reusing the Lords of Power Merman feet. You can see the fin on the back has those standard Merman or Skeletor style feet on there. So yeah, they're reusing that foot on there instead of giving us this foot here. The green is the only one that really matches the vintage figure. I thought that was a really interesting change. Nothing too crazy, but certainly worth bringing up. But otherwise, I mean, it still looks like Modulok. And then here is alongside the Masters of the Universe Classics version of Modulok. And again, he's bigger. I mean, it's crazy. I guess he's just a lot more beefed out on this particular version, but you think of MOTU Classics being a bigger toy line where the figures were 7 inches tall and a lot beefier, but you can see in MOTU Classics, they made him kind of skinny the same way that the vintage figure was, where this new Origins one is a lot more beefed out. So it's really interesting looking at these side by side. Of course, Classics also has a lot more detailing. One of the things about the Origins version is there's a lot of places where it's just straight red. It does kind of have like the dark blue dry or airbrushing on there, which is the way the vintage figure was styled. So you've got that going on, but you can really see the contrast between Classics and Origins. And oh man, putting him with our evil horde in Origins is looking pretty cool. If we're just strictly talking about figures from the vintage Masters of the Universe line, our evil horde is now only missing Multibot, which is another build-out figure just like Modulok here. And of course, Dragstore. Poor Dragstore always feels like he gets left behind. So we're only 2 figures away from finishing up the MOTU Evil Horde. But I mean, there's still so many cool Horde members from Princess of Power. Hopefully we'll be getting those too at some point. So there you guys go. Modulok! He was here. He's not in here anymore. Overall, I really like this figure. I think it turned out pretty good. Minor weird little nitpicks like with those pegs. I'm still a little worried that they're not as durable, but I have no proof of that. Nothing broke while I was playing with it here. Sometimes I feel a little uneasy, specifically removing those legs. I don't know why. So hopefully that's just unfounded. There's no reason to worry about it. Hopefully it will hold up. So really fun figure. I think this is going to be one that people that especially enjoy the mixing and matching of parts are going to have a lot of fun with. And we're getting very close to fully filling out that original evil horde. I mean, hopefully this means Multibot isn't too far off now that we've got this kind of base built here with this particular figure. Then we can create Mega Beast? Huh? That'd be pretty cool. How many of you out there are planning to buy multiple Moduloks so that you can build bigger, crazier creatures? That's something I want to know. So leave me a comment down below and let me know how many Moduloks you are planning to buy. Of course, I need to give a very special thanks to the folks over at Mattel who sent Modulok over early so we can get a good look at him outside of the packaging. As I stated in the beginning, I do believe this is primarily an Amazon exclusive and it should be going up for sale sometime here very soon. I don't think he's technically supposed to ship until January, but that might mean he'll be shipping sometime in December. We don't really know that for sure. Even though Amazon is the prime place, I do believe we already know for sure it will be on Entertainment Earth and maybe some other retailers as well, which is good. I hope it's easy to get this guy. I hope it's, especially because I think people are going to want to buy multiples of this, it should be available for everybody. Thank you guys again so very much for watching this video. Please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And until next time, my friends.